Happy Monday, guys. How's it going? Castillo Trading coming to you with another VIP live stream. First things first, guys, shout out to the stream sponsors of CoinCatch and Stryker.ai. CoinCatch is the perpetual exchange of choice. They have great pairings, great liquidity, no KYC, no VPN. They have a good one-stop shop place for us to be doing our trading. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and we can kind of get things dialed in. And also shout out to Stryker.ai. They are the new platform that I am working with, guys. They have a great infrastructure going in place. They have a great one-stop shop, macro calendar for, all the updated information for what's going on with CPI, FMOC, all that sort of stuff. A lot to come with them, so please let me know if you guys have any questions. Also, potentially working on a new PerpDex partnership as well. Stay tuned for that. I think PerpDex trading is really the next big thing within trading cryptocurrency, so we'll kind of just have to see how it goes going forward. But again, I'll give you guys an update on that if it does go through, if it does happen, and all that sort of stuff. I think it's a great place to kind of go and farm some trading, maybe get a token airdrop. A lot more to come with that. We did have an NPOC print down here at that 114144 NPOC print. We got it, right? That's a good thing. That is a good thing that we got that downside, because then it clears out all lower NPOC levels within range so that we could potentially get a move to the upside. Now, I know what you're talking about. When's the next trade? When are you looking to do this? When are we looking to do that? We're going to talk about all that today. I did get in a BTC trade and I am in an Ethereum trade. Those are probably going to be my main two focuses right now. I think altcoins are at some really good discounted levels, but at the end of the day, Bitcoin needs to drive higher for us to bring these markets higher. It's just one of those things that we have to see Bitcoin have some strength and then people be rotating into Ethereum, into other things. But again, we'll talk about that. We did create this long on 9/15, guys. So last Monday, we created this long to kind of long down here at that 144. So I've stayed true to my setups. I'm staying true to what my strategy is. I'm staying true to, what I talk about you guys with. So I did end up longing BTC. I longed last night. Then I was able to bring my average down this morning once I saw the big drop to the downside. Now they did dump it on us on a Sunday night. I think it was like 2 a.m. New York time. We want to see some strength out of this though. If we cannot see any strength, I think that we are in a world of hurt for some downside. We do have NPOC levels down at that 101, 94, and 91 area. Below 112, I think we're in trouble, right? So this is kind of where I'm taking my position. This is kind of where I'm looking to kind of be dollar cost average into a play. I'll probably have a cut if we have significant candle closes below 112. And what do I mean by significant candle closes? Well, a daily close below 112, a weekly close below 112. Those are going to be the indicators to me that, hey, this market does not have the strength that we all thought it did, at least that I thought it did. But as of right now, we are in a current active long. I think we still have a short up higher. The short kind of was at that 114.714. Again, it was a great short. I did not take it. Again, I have not done the best job of hedging or shorting in this environment. It is what it is. I am still kind of on the buy the dip train. Maybe something changes and we do drop in market structure shift, and then we can be a little bit more short heavy. But as for right now, good games to the hedgers, good games to the shorters. For me, I would have loved a retest of this area to kind of be short into. We did not get it. I think I created that short last month in August on 820, right? It was to short that area. We front run that area and we didn't get it. But it's not the end of the world. Why? Because we did have this long down here. So we are closing out all NPOC levels within range. And what do I mean by within range? Well, it's within our current range here. We have nothing below until our lower limit. So that is what we kind of initially wanted, right? Because then we close out NPOC prints and the only ones that we have are now above current price action. So I would love a retest of this. Maybe this drives a little bit lower, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't have any significant candle closes below 112, I think that it could save and we run up and grab these NPOCs to the upside. That is what I am trading for. I think that days like today is when you're going to see a lot of doom and gloom. I think the days like today is when you're going to want people to continue to want more downside, right? And again, Bitcoin is still holding fairly well. Yes, there's been damage to basically everything else. Fartcoin has been crushed, Pump has been crushed, altcoins have been crushed. The only thing holding decently has been BNB, right? BNB has really been the only trade that's been holding up fairly well, and Bitcoin, right? So this still gives me a little bit of confidence. I am still in those trades. I'm still planning on holding those trades for a little bit. It's not going to be something to where price goes straight up, right? It's going to take time. Maybe there's more shakeouts within this area, exactly kind of like what happened right here, and before we get that move up. But I'm not going to over drill this for you guys. You guys know what we're looking for. We are currently in an active long on BTC, and then really the short has not really changed. We can kind of argue that if we do get a move to the upside, that you could potentially short this. And this would be an NPOC print at that 115,535. And again, this was created over the weekend. So this could be our next short entry, or at least our next hedge entry. The long that we had is still, we wanted that 4191 all the way back on 825. So about a month ago, we still wanted this 4191 area to hit. Fast forward a month later, it did finally hit. So that's still a long entry for me, guys. Just because it didn't hit for an entire month doesn't mean that I don't want to long. Now, we did try and long a certain setup within this area. You know, we were kind of looking at this trend line here. We wanted this support level to hold. It was median ML and it was trend line support. It ended up breaking down. I took a loss on that. It is what it is. I did see the weakness yesterday and I closed everything. A big mistake that I had was that I jumped back in on ETH thinking that that confidence was going to be there. So once again, learn from my mistakes. Over trading in these conditions aren't the best, right? Ended up giving 10K back over the weekend. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking cry about it. Just gonna continue to move forward and see how things go. So this is a current active long that we created last month. So that is why I longed it. Not only that, but it does have that lower limit confluence within that discounted price zone within the 1 hour. So this will get a little tricky because we're gonna look at the 1 hour and the 4 hour current range on Ethereum and kind of construct a trade based off of that. So if this doesn't hold, obviously we go below 4K and we get a retest of that 3833 and that 3905. We cannot take that off the table, right? A big thing for me is where Bitcoin closes today. If Bitcoin has weakness, Ethereum's gonna have weakness, and if Ethereum has weakness, the entirety of the market is going to have weakness, right? So big close today that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on. Yes, if this gets stopped out, I will be looking to long that high 3,800 area. Again, sometimes it takes a couple of attempts to get the trade right, and this is a perfect example on ETH. I attempted here, took some losses. Maybe I'll attempt here, I'll take some losses. And then we jump to here, then maybe that's where we can get that winner, then we get that move to the upside. So I will take 2 to 3 to 4 small losses to catch that one big winner and really maximize that ROI. One of my mentors from back in the day, that's what he preached all the time. You cannot be so focused on getting it right every single time, because this guy has a 60% hit rate and he's made over $12 million, right? So sometimes it's about just knowing when you're wrong, cutting it, and then looking for another re-entry. I will take 3 to 4 small losses to hit that one big winner, and I will say that all the time. I am not 100% perfect on my hit rate. I do not ever claim to be 100% perfect within my trading. I take losses just like everybody else. It is what it is. But NPOC prints, we are in a current active long. That is why I'm long. There is confluence within our lower limit on Ethereum. If we go below 4K, things shift. If we drop below 112K, things shift. If we drop below 112K, I have my next targets below 100K. It sucks, right? It's not wrong, it just sucks. So BTC, we close below this level. I'm going to be looking and targeting for, you know, these levels down here below 100K. I think it makes a lot of sense because then the range gets broadened. Right here, we're at median ML. This is support that we need to hold right here. If it doesn't hold and we crack that, which is our 112 area that we created off of our daily level here, then that's when we can start to look for some of these lower limit levels. Yes, that would suck and would be a lot of detriment to a lot of people, but maybe this market needs that cleanse. But again, like I said, I'm not overexposed here. I'm still putting my money where my mouth is as far as my setups go. We attempted Fartcoin and the weakness was there, right? We wanted lower limit to hold, but we got no follow through. So at the end of the day, I'm really not interested in Fartcoin anymore. My setup was invalidated. I haven't traded it in a little bit and I don't plan on trading it. You know, this is a very clear level of resistance, and then broke above it. And so this is not a terrible place to be longing Fartcoin. Me personally, I'm not going to be longing Fartcoin here. You know, we had a couple of attempts. I want to see what happens with BTC and Ethereum before I start to get into any altcoins again. And that's going to be the name of the game for me. Does that mean that we're not at good discounted buy levels? I think we are at good discounted buy levels. Fartcoin is off 65% off of its highs, right? That is a bear market considering some plays, right? You're down 65%. Just not something I'm interested in. There's not much strength there. BTC and Ethereum are still chilling close to around all-time highs, and you're getting 65 to 70% retrace on altcoins. That is why I'm not really interested in trading altcoins anymore. And, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, if we get some confirmation from the majors, then I'll start to pivot and see how altcoins are looking. But as of right now, not interested in Fartcoin, although I do think that they are coming into good discounted levels. And with that being said, I don't think it's a terrible place to be buying spot. Now, spot only. I wouldn't leverage trade into any altcoins. Just from this weekend, Fartcoin has dropped about 40%. So again, strength is just not there on Fartcoin. I think ASTER looks good, but it's a very, very risky long if you're in it. I think if you get into ASTER, you need to anticipate that you're going to lose everything. Now, if you're getting into ASTER spot or very, very, very low leverage, then it's not a bad idea. You know, you're kind of speculating on the play that CZ is going to pump this over the course of the next 3 to 4 months, right? That's the speculation on it. There's no real technicals on it. It's very, very tough. It was just listed not even a week ago. And so it's one of those things that, like, if you do long ASTER, you need to have confidence in it. You need to have confidence in CZ that he's going to pump this play. Otherwise, you're kind of just longing into a move that clearly hasn't sustained very well. Decent area to at least attempt it if you don't have any exposure to it. But again, it's a speculation play because you're basically speculating on CZ to pump this thing. Of course, you want to say that this looks like a good discount buy because it is. You know, at least off its highs, it's down 40%, 43%. Me, like I said, it's going to be pretty redundant. I am not going to continue to long very many altcoins as of right now. Could be a mistake. This could be the point that you want to long them. But I need to see something from Bitcoin. I need to see anything from Bitcoin first. And, you know, as of right now, we haven't. But CRV is just not performing. You know, it's kind of the same thing as Fartcoin, to where you could have thrown a current range on this. You have highs, you have lows. You know, you could have argued that these levels were good attempts to be longing. And then, you know, boom, we're getting that cut. Now, is this a deviation that gets accepted back in and then moves up to upper limit and median ML? It could be, but again, a lot depends on BTC and ETH. If BTC and ETH continue to hold well and we get a spike into today and into tomorrow, then yes, maybe we can talk about altcoins a little bit more. But as of right now, I'm going to pretty much say the same thing, to where I'm just not interested in altcoins, unfortunately. I should probably pivot to Sol a little bit more and see how this is going, because this is a good retest area. I like this level spike. I do. You know, I think it's a clear resistance level, then impulse higher, and that we are retesting that too. You know, if you can get a bid on Sol anywhere between 220 and 212, and you kind of got that average at that lower limit, I think that's a decent trade to potentially be playing out. But again, it's a major, right? It's not an altcoin like hype. It's a major market driver. You know, BTC, ETH, Sol, those are the three. But I do like Sol here. I think that it's a pretty decent level. I think a lot of people were kind of logging in this 230, 240 area. I have not traded Sol in a while, so maybe I'll get back into looking at it. XRP is not bad though. I actually think it looks decent. For me, I actually traded XRP spot beautifully. I sold a little too soon. I was selling into this spike, but again, it was because I was holding it for like 4 fucking years. So I was just looking for anything to get out of. Traded XRP spot pretty good. Haven't looked at it or haven't really touched it since. XRP's in a good spot though, in my opinion. Just on this current range, I think XRP is one of the better setups that I've actually seen. Resistance level, impulse move higher, support. Now we're digging back down into that support level. I don't hate XRP here. I think it is at a decent support where there's not much downside. Again, the downside on XRP though is fucking detrimental. If we lose this 270, then I think it's like 230, 210. But it is support, right? So I'm not getting into XRP now, shorting it, thinking that support's gonna be broken, because this is a very clear support level on XRP. Thank you for being a part of the VIP Trade with Castillo Telegram. I appreciate each and every one of you always joining in each and every day, and I'll see you guys next time.